join self-driving cars. Combine those three together, and you have the self-owning taxi. A car that is a corporation that owns itself, pays for the car lease, the car insurance, and the gasoline from the revenues it makes, giving passengers a ride, and there's not a single human involved in that matter.
You will use an app like Uber, but not anymore to call some driver, but an automatically guided car, a self-driven car, will come to your hotel or wherever you are and will bring you to the airport. Actually, I had a discussion some months ago with the mayor of Los Angeles, and you know Los Angeles is one of the cities with the heaviest traffic, who told me in 2030 Los Angeles will be private car-driven free. And this will allow to transform highways into parks and other public spheres.
Already dominant in their home market, Chinese EV makers aim to lead as well in the self-driving realm, from advanced robotaxis to larger semi-autonomous semis.
The game for autonomy is in China. That's why Elon wants to roll out his own FSD there.
Tesla, along with its Chinese navigation partner Bitrue, plan to make FSD, or full self-driving, available in China by as early next year, pending final regulatory approval, after getting an in-principle okay from Beijing in April.
It's a watershed moment, and this unlocks golden opportunity.
At least 9 domestic Chinese automakers, plus smartphone giants Xiaomi and Huawei, among others, have a head start, though, locally through real-world traffic pilot zones in multiple cities across China, seeking a leg up in so-called ground truth data.
At the moment, the local knowledge gives them the advantage because, again, the scale. The scale is uncompared to anywhere else in the world. But as Tesla leans on that scale, as you mentioned with the Baidu cooperation, that is slowly going to be eaten away over time. And unless they can also do that kind of data gathering outside of the country, Tesla will at some point not only become competitive, but may ultimately become a market leader.
我觉得FSD 是非常好。I think Tesla's full self-driving is great. I like it too. But FSD's breakthrough only took place in the past 12 months. I think Xpunk's XNGP and Tesla's FSD can both perform well in the global markets.
Tesla is indeed a pioneer, but everyone is beginning to get closer. Chinese car companies have a better understanding of the needs of Chinese users and the needs of China's road conditions.
This is a pretty narrow road. You can see all kinds of different scenarios like bicycles, pedestrians, vehicles cutting in, cutting out.
Toyota partner Pony AI has been real-world road testing its robotaxis for more than 6 years. So we hailed a ride in Beijing. Tesla's FSD coming into this market, is it a threat?
It's definitely a good thing. The more competitive this market is, it means the better products will be offered to the customers. We need to have the customer acceptance. That is very, very important. The customers have to trust this kind of technology.
Oh, whoa, wow. What happened? Somebody pulled out suddenly. Oh. The brakes work. Safety and certainty are clearly important as well for another electric vehicle industry in China, in the so-called low-altitude economy that includes airborne EV delivery of packages and passengers. Yihong is perhaps the most well-known of the Chinese air taxi makers, but Valet Aerotech 2 hopes to have its $2.5 million DE25 certified by mid-2026 as China opens its lower airspace to piloted and pilotless eVTOLs, or electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft.
There's a huge potential in this area.
Electric vertical takeoff and landing commercial drones come in many shapes and sizes, and they are throwing lots of money at it. So much so that at least 20 provinces say they intend to build out their own low-altitude economies.
The vehicle itself is carbon fiber, and that's generally produced all domestically. The battery ecosystems which they use are here. So all of the ecosystems and manufacturing is already located domestically. So that actually gives it a huge edge over any competitors.
Now it's a little bit challenging time between China, Europe, and the States. I think it's important to have the communication and not afraid of everything, but trying to build this outcome.
Times 100 per year. So one-time sale of a vehicle gets you maybe $5,000 in operating profit. If it turns into a robotaxi, that vehicle generates on the order of $20,000, $25,000 in operating profit per year for as long as that vehicle exists. I don't need to sell electric vehicles to people anymore if instead they're going to ride in them as robotaxis.
Craig, I'm skeptical. Rides are a commodity, and I can see the price going down and down if Waymo and others succeed at this as well. But Teslas are a premium product. How does this robotaxi product and service live up to these expectations, you think?
I think the expectations are nothing but lofty right here. The whole expectation around ADAS 4.0, you jump in a vehicle and it takes you from A to B with no operator input. That is years away. It is many years away.
That exists today. I rode in a Waymo just last week. You can do it right now.
Well, no. If you use LiDAR, if you're using a camera-based system like Tesla is, you need to have many more cameras. And the LiDAR-based system gives you spatial.
I rode in my Tesla this morning and I pulled out of the parking lot.
It's not subject to optical aberration. It's not subject to optical aberration, which is the fundamental flaw of Tesla's system design. So this is not going to be mainstream. This is not going to be an app update for your Tesla fleet out there. This is just not, it's not going to be the hype and the dream that everybody has right now.
Brett, what is it going to take from a regulatory approval? Assuming this is technology and capability, we know Craig believes it's not, but you sound like you do believe in this capability and the way they're building out this autonomous driving possibility. What is it going to take from a regulatory standpoint to actually see it become reality?
I think, the Waymo case has shown that regulators will respond to data, and Tesla certainly has a volume of assets in field where they can deliver a big volume of data to demonstrate how safe these vehicles are. In fact, I would not be surprised, though there's certainly no guarantee, if they released in this event, announced some hard empirical data on their intervention rate for safety critical interventions. Across a certain threshold, these vehicles, and Waymo has demonstrated it, are going to be safer than humans. I would rather put my kid in an autonomous robotaxi than trust my kid with an Uber driver, for sure. And so I think even at the same price, robotaxis are likely to take share from existing ride hail. And we think the size of the market increases by roughly an order of magnitude as you go from that $2.50 per mile down to $1 per mile. We think that's $1 trillion addressable.
That said, Waymo is already there. They beat Tesla to the punch, didn't they? And I'm curious what that means. I mean, at some point it shows that if this is doable, Tesla should be able to do it. But they got to get up to par with Waymo soon, don't you think?
Well, I mean, as we've shown in our report, it's a 1.7 trillion revenue number by 2040. I only actually have Tesla at around 250 billion of that. So it's a lot of folks are going to participate in this robotaxi ecosystem. But it dramatically improves the profitability of the transportation sector. You pay $1, $2 for an Uber ride. It only costs 30 cents to operate these.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Elon Musk Tesla Robotaxi event tonight. It's about to happen in a few minutes, and I apologize. The video is late. But guys, who's leading this field? Sure not the United States. The same way when it comes to digital assets and this new digital economy, it's all the emerging markets led by China. Who's funding Elon? That's right, China. Does that make any sense, guys? No, it doesn't. But China is definitely funding Tesla. And it's just not the robotaxis, guys. It's these drones. The robots, algorithms, and drones are about to take over this economy. More productivity at low cost. They don't need a lunch break. They don't talk back. They don't call out. They don't quit on the job. They work 24/7. And guys, we know this is definitely biblical because the machines now have money. Now with digital currencies and everything is tracked, they'll be able to run this whole economy without a human involved. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Now we have Joe Biden on FEMA and SBA. And we know Congress is not going to do anything next year. So if they do something, they better do it this year. Because next year, we know that the deficit has to be cut. We know a lot of federal workers are going to be out of work. And because the Fed held rates higher for longer, we're going to see a whole lot more layoffs because these small and medium-sized banks are about to be consolidated or disappear. And that means the same thing is going to happen to small business. And we know small business is the backbone of the United States. And I don't care where you're at. I don't care where you live at. You notice these small businesses have been crumbling. And all it takes is one big sector to get laid off, and it'll affect everybody. And right now, all we're seeing is tech. But it's going to be a whole lot more sectors starting in 2025. And I'm talking about your doctors, lawyers, accountants, the big money, and then all the way down to your fast food workers, your telemarketers. They're going to be out of work. The machines are coming. And remember, guys, this is a plan. It moves in phases, but it's definitely going to speed up next year up until 2028. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have Japan. And how are they going to do it? How do we see the signals, guys? It's all about Japan. Remember, Japan bought a lot of the United States debt. And now it's time for them to get rid of it. And then on top of it, they're going to be raising rates, which is going to cause a rumble in the global economy. Japan has been holding up the global economy. But don't forget, Japan was brought to San Francisco to plan out the fourth industrial revolution. And I brought it to you right from the horse's mouth. And guys, just think about it. It's Thursday night. We're going to have the sheep watch the football game while the revenge of the nerds watch Tesla. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have OpenAI warns of misinformation. And we know that's going to be an attack on the First Amendment all day. Free speech. We know that's the next phase they're going to be going to. They don't want you to tell the truth. Remember, good is going to be evil, and evil is going to be good. We already see it, guys. You know you can tell a liar because they don't want to be questioned, or they only want you to hear their side. They don't want you to hear the other side. You know when you're speaking to a devil, when they only want to hear one side. They don't want to hear the other side. If you have nothing to hide, you're going to listen to both sides. And I can't take any credit for that. My mom, my grandma, my uncle, Ned always told me that. If you listen to anybody that only listen to one side, that's a devil. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Because he knows. When it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
President, on FEMA funding, how much time does Congress have to act before FEMA or the SBA run out of money?
That's in discussion now. I don't want to mislead you. I think in terms of the SBA, it's pretty right at the edge right now. And I think the Congress should be coming back and moving on emergency needs immediately. And they're going to have to come back after the election as well, because this is going to be a long haul for total rebuilding. It's going to take several $1 billion. It's not going to be a matter of just a little bit. But we're providing now to make sure people have the emergency relief they need. The dollars just to be able to get a prescription filled, to get a baby formula done. All the things, that $750 that you're talking about, Mr. Trump and all those other people know it's a lie to suggest that's all they're going to get. That's bizarre. It's bizarre. They got to stop this. They're being so damn un-American with the way they're talking about this stuff. But there's going to be a need for significant amounts of money. We're already underway at trying to calculate what the costs will be because we don't want to mislead anybody. We want to make sure all the costs are able to be covered.
Spoken to Speaker Johnson about coming back before the election to vote?
No, I haven't.
Mr. President, so are you calling on Congress to come back early?
I think Congress should move as rapidly as they can, particularly on the most immediate need, which is small business.
The Vice President said yesterday that FEMA has what it needs. There's enough resources. That Congress does not need to come back, right?
FEMA has its needs. That's different than SBA.
Okay, so it's SBA. They need to come back and do SBA.
Yeah, but they're going to need a lot more.
Let me first read out from the bank's July statement. Bear with me. This will be rather dense, but will take less than a minute. I'll start. As for the future conduct of monetary policy, while it will depend on developments in economic activity and prices as well as financial conditions going forward, given that real interest rates are at significantly low levels, if the outlook for economic activity and prices presented in the July Outlook report will be realized, the bank will accordingly continue to raise the policy interest rate and adjust the degree of monetary accommodation. With the price stability target of 2%, it will conduct monetary policy as appropriate in response to developments in economic activity and prices as well as financial conditions from the perspective of sustainable and stable achievement of the target, end quote. But what does this mean? You know that I cannot add much to the party line, but let me try to offer some annotation to this statement. What I present is, of course, just my own interpretation. First, the statement argues that the future conduct of monetary policy will depend on developments in economic activity and prices as well as financial conditions going forward. In other words, the policy board is going to look at the totality of the data as it makes decisions meeting by meeting. But you might say that you already know well that the board looks at economic activity, prices, and financial conditions. What you may want to know is which particular data board members focus on. The focus, however, shifts as new data comes in. If you had asked me, I'm one of the 9 board members in April, I would have put Japanese consumption and wage data at the top of my list. Today, US employment and consumption and Chinese consumption may deserve more attention than before. Later in the year, we will have more data on the pass-through of the 2024 wage hike to service prices and qualitative and quantitative information related to the 2025 wage negotiations. We will also know more on the pass-through of changes in the yen-dollar rate to the CPI via import prices. The list is constantly evolving and is also data-dependent. More importantly, we monitor data to detect developments not already covered in our risk scenarios. Looking at data outside the current priority list is thus equally important. In short, we look at the totality of the data meeting by meeting.
They will at least get off on a better foot in this era. Yesterday, OpenAI released a 54-page report that analyzes more than 20 covert influence operations that used its models to launch deceptive campaigns on social media and other platforms. Now, the report is meant to be a snapshot of what OpenAI is seeing and flag an initial set of trends that can inform this debate on how AI fits into a broader threat landscape. Now, that is the optimistic view, but there's financial incentive here as well. The social media business model is powered by engagement and amplification. More time spent on Instagram or TikTok, that gives the company more opportunity to serve ads and thus more for its bottom line. The generative AI business model, it's not yet clear, but so far it's a subscription and licensing model. OpenAI or Anthropic or Perplexity relies on the models serving users and companies to give out accurate information. Trust here is central. It may also be patriotic. Yesterday, President Biden called misinformation around Hurricane Milton un-American. Now, Gen AI, keep in mind, is an industry still in its very early innings, may need government support in terms of regulation, energy needs, data center build-out, startups helping to identify threats. That could win them goodwill from policymakers. While any kind of overarching AI regulation, that has stalled, there has been some signs of progress on smaller bills, like in California. Yes, Governor Newsom, he vetoed that AI safety bill, but he has signed into law more than a dozen smaller AI bills, including one that cracks down on deepfakes. Many more related to AI were introduced in state legislatures last year. So OpenAI may have a better chance of developing guardrails or at least more transparency around this new technology. So far, pretty good. But remember, it was also founded as a nonprofit. So its mission is to develop AGI for the benefit of humanity. I thought this was interesting, guys. I went back to Mark Zuckerberg's letter and Facebook's IPO prospectus, and I found this. The first line reads, Facebook was not originally created to be a company. It was built to accomplish a social mission, and that was to make the world more open and connected. And I had to pour a little bit of cold water, guys. This is just a reminder that even the best intentions can go astray. So far from done here, but something to watch.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting it more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has
told his members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets. Now,
it was not just a poor auction; it was absolutely lousy. And you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a Treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the new World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID 33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.